How long have you been in the catfish business?
Oh, I myself pretty much grew up on a fish farm. Was born into it, and but my father really started it kind of in the mid '80s, and I worked on it growing up. All through school and college and everything. And I guess I started really full time in 2003, and that's when I graduated Mississippi State and came back to the farm working full time.
Yeah, I see. You got 2 degrees right there on the wall there.
Well, one of my father's. You know,
Oh,
I
okay.
didn't want to go to college. I wanted to come home and work, and my daddy didn't ever finish his degree. So
Yeah.
I said, Daddy, you've done pretty good and didn't get a college degree, so I really don't want to either. And so anyway, he lacked about 20 hours finishing his degree, so he went and finished his degree at the same time I did, just to prove a point, pretty much, that I needed to get my college degree, and I'm glad I did now. So.
So he was right.
Yeah, he was right. He was. I hate to admit that, but he was. So, but anyway, if give you something to fall back on, something goes bad.
So can you put a year, like how many years you've been in the business?
We like ourselves, the whole farm got started in 1985 with the catfish. But me myself farming, has been since 2003, full time. But with my granddaddy and my daddy all together, probably started in the early 60s. My granddaddy started it.
But it wasn't originally a catfish farm.
No, it first started off as mainly a cotton and soybean farm, and through the times, commodity prices changed, and just we had to start, a little diversification. Soybeans wasn't doing good. The price of soybeans went down, price of cotton went down. So we said, hey, everybody else is, building fish ponds to diversify a little bit. So we started, my dad in about the mid '80s started building fish ponds, and he started with 6 ponds, and we slowly, have grown, through the good times and the bad times, to about 700 acres of water right now, roughly 70 fish ponds.
Wow.
So,
So is it now mostly a catfish farm?
we do still do about 1,400 acres of row crop, and so we got soybeans and catfish. So it's something to do all the time around here, pretty much. So kind of like a natural hedge, the way we look at it. If the fish doesn't do good, well, maybe the soybeans will, carry us out that year. So.
I'd like to talk to you about the good and the bad. Let's talk about the good first.
Okay.
How great is it to be a catfish farmer, and also how profitable is it?
Oh, I mean, I really love fish farming. You might ask me that some days, and I hate it, but overall, I do really like it. It's got its good points and bad points. It's just the fact of growing something, that you start off as, an egg, and then grow it to where somebody's eating it, a year or two later. That's just, makes you feel good about what you're doing, and I didn't lost my train of thought now.
How many employees do you,
Let me.
how many employees do you have here at?
Oh, it's real seasonal here. During the winter time, we pretty much, run about 5 people, and that's when we're harvesting fish all the time, pretty much harvesting our fingerling fish, that we sell to other farmers, in probably a 3 or 4 state area. And then summertime, like right now, we're at peak capacity. Like we probably got 15 employees right now.
Okay.
Versus we're seining fish pretty regular. We got guys working at night, guys working in the hatchery, guys irrigating soybeans, guys working in the shop, guys feeding fish. So.
You mentioned the fingerlings and raising those fish to sell to other catfish farms,
Correct.
right? So what kind of product does this catfish farm in particular produce to sell to other markets?
Well, like I said, we have a hatchery, and we hatch fish out. They're called fry when we hatch them out and grow them up to 5 or 6 inches long, which usually takes 7, 8, 10 months to do. And this during the wintertime, everybody's seining their fish, harvesting their fish. Anyway, they're gonna need some more fish to put back in there. So the wintertime is usually when you restock your ponds, and versus people in Alabama, Arkansas, Louisiana, most of them do not have their own hatchery, so they look for us to buy their, fingerlings to restock their ponds with.
So you sell to those states?
Correct. Yeah, we mostly out of state, Alabama and Texas and Louisiana.
And then the larger fish that you harvest, where do those fish go?
Oh, okay. We call those food fish, food size fish. We're approximately about half fingerlings, half our water acres are half fingerling sales and half food fish sales. So we sell those to local plants around here, Heartland Catfish, American Sketch, Freshwater Farms, and which we sell them there live, and they process them and handle it from there pretty much. So.
Can you tell us the price of the fingerlings? How much you sell them for, or what the unit is, and also for the food fish as well to those plants?
Okay, it's price on everything can pretty much fluctuate with supply and demand. And like versus our food fish, when there's not many food fish out there to sell, when doesn't nobody have any, that in turn makes the price of fish go up. Like any other product. Which the average price we get per pound is probably $1.15 right now, which is a pretty good price.
And that's for food fish?
That's for food fish.
Okay.
All right. And then on our fingerlings, we usually sell those by the head, instead of by the pound, because they average 5 or 6 inches long, and that anywhere from 8 to 9 cents a piece.
Is that a good price?
Yeah, it's a more stable price, and that's a pretty good price too. So.
Okay. Then I'm going to ask you this question because I'm trained to do it, and it's your job to either say yes or no. How much money do you make from catfish each year?
We survive anyway. We keep a name on the mailbox from doing it. And some years not, some years we do real well. So, that's a toss-up question, pretty much.
Won't give me a dollar amount?
No.
Fair enough.
I might not want to know sometimes. To tell you the truth. So.
Let's go to the challenges.
Okay.
What do you face as a challenge right now in your industry? What's the biggest challenge for you?
Oh, I guess the foreign imports we have to compete against. That and bird problems eating our fish. And
Really?
I guess that's
Bird problems?
Yes.
Well, let's talk about both of those. Talk about the bird problems first.
Okay, the bird problem. The fish industry used to be, I don't know how many acres total it used to be, but if we've shrunk less than half, but we still got the same amount of birds. So those birds are more concentrated on, fewer ponds, and which the birds in turn eat fish. That's, a major problem. But also the birds carry diseases and stuff that get our fish sick, and that's even worse than them eating the fish. That kills more fish than them eating the fish, which, and the government, regulates, we have permits and stuff where we can, harvest so many birds and all that. But even though, you can't kill them. It don't matter if the government said you can kill all of them, you can shoot. You can't kill them. That's like going duck hunting. There might be some ducks there, but doesn't mean you can, kill all of them. It's easier said than done. And I guess the import problem is, Vietnam and China, they pretty much grow the same fish we do now, and there's some different breeds of catfish. But, they don't have to follow really the same guidelines we do, but it's in turn they're getting that in the pipeline now and just started implementing it the last several months, which they're getting a lot of negative feedback from some people in Washington about it, because all this free trade, they don't want to make China and Vietnam mad by if we, stop taking their catfish, well, they might get mad at us and stop taking, something that America, sells to them, but anyway, that's, I guess, the two most important problems we have now.
Well, what's your take on that whole international catfish coming over here and being sold next to something that's raised?
Oh, man, I don't have a problem with it as long as they play fair, but when they can use chemicals and stuff that we can't, that makes it unfair, and the versus their labor's a lot cheaper than ours, we have a better product than they do, and they want to send it over here, that's fine, but as long as they play, by fair rules. Well, look at it,
If you put a fish that, let's say, you harvested, a food fish, next to something from Asia or China, Indonesia, wherever it's coming from, can you tell a difference?
Sometimes you can, sometimes you can't. And
Then tell me, as a professional, What is the difference? But is it just the breed, or is it the quality, or is it...
It's a little of both. I mean, they have different breeds of catfish over there, and the quality too. You know, like I said, they grow them. They don't have to grow them in, you know, clean water like we do. They can use, you know, cancer-causing chemicals to treat diseases with that work real well over there that we can't use. You know, which makes them be able to grow a fish a lot cheaper than we can. You know.
So are those fish dangerous?
Oh yeah, I mean, I believe they really are.
How
I mean,
dangerous?
versus, you know, a lot of the fish they're inspecting now that's coming into the United States, they're, you know, sending a lot of them back because they're finding, you know, illegal chemicals in it that we can't use.
Well, when you have the consumer at the grocery store and you got two sets of fish, American, U.S., maybe hopefully from Mississippi, and the ones from China, that consumer doesn't necessarily know or can tell the difference other than the price, because I've experienced
Right.
that myself in my own Kroger.
Unless, you know, most of the time they have a country of origin label on it, tells you where they came from, which, you know, lets the consumer know, you know, where they came from.
So, do you also see that the price of your fish compared to their fish is much more, or slightly more than theirs?
Oh, it is more. I mean, they can grow it and send it over here, you know, almost cheap as we can raise it for.
Well, then how much more of a frustration or a challenge is that to you here in a local level?
Oh, it is, you know, that knowing that we can, you know, we work hard every day growing the best fish we can grow, and, you know, the government inspects everything we do, but they don't inspect anything coming in, you know, from the overseas as far as fish-wise. But they are now, which is starting to, you know, help out to get us all on a fair playing game, you know.
Let me go back to the bird problem real quick before we go outside. You were saying that the birds will eat the fish, but they'll also introduce disease that would kill the
Correct.
fish. Tell me how much of a loss in a percentage of your entire stock per year do the birds get? Do they get like 1%, 2%?
Oh, I'm gonna say this year with the main problem we're having is with pelicans. I mean, it's same. It's not really the same pelicans on the coast. It's northern pelicans that come in here, and they come in and they, like I said, they eat the fish too. But they come in at night and land in the pond and, you know, defecate in the water, and that in turn gets on a snail in the pond, which is the carrier for the trematode, and then that can in turn gets on the fish. And not necessarily kills the fish, but it makes it quit eating, which if fish are not eating, it's not making you money then. And I'm gonna say this year probably affects us 20% of our food fish growth, yeah. Which last year was a lot lower, but like I said, there's fewer and fewer ponds this year, so we're having more and more bird problems, you know.
So then again, how do you control the bird problem?
Well, you can run them off, you know, you can run the birds off, but, you know, you can't sit there by each pond every day and all night,
I
you know.
notice a bunch of rifles in your office here.
That's right.
Is that something that you have to?
Well, we
do
deer
sometimes?
hunt a lot too, you know, so, we mainly, you know, running birds, like I said, you can't, it's kind of like duck hunting. You can ride around in your truck, works better than, you know, trying to shoot them.
What would you like people in Mississippi to know about the catfish industry and what you do? Maybe that they just take for granted every day. What would you like them to know?
Oh, there's a lot more to it than ordering a piece of fish in a restaurant and eating it. It's, you know, we do it all from hatching them out to, you know, growing them to restocking ponds, and, you know, it's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week job, 365-day a year, you know, job, and it's real complicated, you know, what we do.
And it also sounds like it's not easy.
Oh, it's not. Versus, you know, we have labor problems too, and government guidelines that we got to follow by, and you know, it's not easy, but, you know, we make a living at it, and, you know, if it was real easy, everybody'd be doing it. So.